So with that question, deciding to go to Rice, what really went into your decision to decide to go to Rice?
Number one, I played football in high school as well. And so my options were either go to Yale to play football, quarterback, or Rice, pitch. And right before football season, my senior year, tore my meniscus, had to have surgery, and kind of took that as a sign, that was one thing. Another thing is academics has always been really big in my family. And shoot, I didn't think I was going to be a college athlete, let alone a professional athlete, probably until I was 18. So when I started growing and realizing, like, hey, you know what, maybe I can play not professional, college, collegiate athletics, we reached out to all the Ivy League schools, Stanford, Rice, for football and baseball, just to kind of cast the biggest net that I felt like was worth it, to see what we could get. I mean, if I could get into Rice and play a sport, or Stanford play a sport, or Yale, whatever, we were going to take that chance. And then Rice, specifically, when I was doing all the football camps up in the Ivy Leagues, it was just me and my dad, just me and my dad, and we were running around, and I was away from my mom for like a month and a half, 2 months, and I was like, God, dog, I miss my mom. So when Rice offered, the knee happened, I realized Rice is like 30 minutes down the road. I was like, all right, y'all can come watch me play. I can come home, get a home-cooked meal, and do some laundry if I got lazy, So Rice kind of just fit all the criteria that I didn't know I had. So
is there like one person in your family who was like the main person who like drove in to keep the academics high while keeping your play on the field high as well?
It was a combo deal, It was definitely a combination. I did well in most subjects, and the math and science definitely came from my dad, so he was on me about that. And then my mom was English, social studies, and all that. And I just remember I got a B or something, and I got in trouble, and I was like, I got a lot of trouble. I got whooped or something. I was like, all right, you know what? We're not going to do this anymore. I'm going to do everything I can to not do that again. So it was kind of just like hey, man, you better have good grades. And if you don't, then you're going to hear about it. And then there was actually never pressure to be good at sports. It was just kind of something we did for fun. Me and my siblings, we just did it to do it and play with our friends, and it kind of turned into something for me. I grew, which is a blessing. What was
the moment, the time you knew you could play D1 athletics?
So my best friend plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's actually in town right now. That's what I was dropping off. But he was my left tackle in high school. And kind of when I started growing, had a decent arm, smart guy. He's getting all these offers. And he goes, hey, John, listen, you could play college football if you want to, right? And I was like, what? And he's like, no, really. I think you play college football. And so I was like, huh. And that was the first time I ever thought about playing college anything. And then going from football every fall and throwing 200 passes a day in practice and slinging or whatever, and going into the spring playing baseball, each year my velocity jumped up a little bit, and in my junior year I hit 87, which ain't that hard, but at the time it was like, what? And then I hit 90 my senior year, and there were professional scouts out there, and it was like, all right, yeah, let's go play ball. Let's go play ball somewhere, do something. It's kind of just, I grew and everybody saw me different, I guess was the answer.
And then how was the transition from high school baseball and high school athletics to a Division I baseball program? What were the differences?
Number one, I think the biggest thing was the time management that everybody talks about going from high school to college, just in general. My first semester, I had a sub-3, I had like 2.9, and I tried to go as long as I could without telling my parents, because if they would have known, they wouldn't have let me do a lot of things that I was wanting to do. I lived off campus my sophomore year. That would have not happened if they'd found out. But then the next spring, I bumped it up. I brought it back up to 3 and steadily rose after that. And then usually D1 athletes on their high school teams are the bigger guys, or they're just blatantly faster, or just
You can tell.
you can just tell. Usually, you can just tell, especially with like football, basketball, and even baseball. You can tell, especially with pitchers. But when I got to Rice, I left high school a big guy and showed up, and everybody, there were guys my size, and there were guys my size, and there were guys who I was watching them. I was like, oh man, what did we get into? Just veteran guys, the way they walked around and the confidence. I was like, I left thinking I was a confident guy, and like y'all sitting here making me look like I'm so unsure of myself. But just the sheer fact that everybody can play and everybody knows they can play until proven otherwise. That was kind of a big difference. And then you just got the guys that want to work. More guys want to work. In high school, you kind of have, say on a baseball team, you got 20 guys. You got 7 guys on that team who are like, I love this. I want to put everything I have into this. And from out of those 7 guys, you probably got 3 of those guys who are going to play Division I baseball or play higher than that well. But the other 4, they really just want to work hard and all that. In college, out of your 27, 20 are putting in everything they got. No, I take that back. I'd say 25 are putting everything they got. 25, you got 2 knuckleheads usually, but you got 25 guys who are putting everything they got, and then you got a lot more guys who can hang and will progress farther, especially at a big D1 school, Arizona State, Rice, LSU, those schools. Just the talent concentration. It's a lot bigger. I'd say there's more concentration of talent and just the amount of work. You got to work harder to stay afloat.
So you got you after having a very good freshman season at Rice, you had that shoulder injury. What kept you motivated to keep going through that?
I mean, as cliche as it sounds, just love of the game. I really started to enjoy baseball. In high school, I played with my friends, and then I grew, and then I was like, okay, I'm playing this to get to college. Next up to college. Well, when I went to Rice, it was strictly, I was like, I'm just gonna get a Rice degree. I'm gonna be a chemical engineer. I'm gonna do all this stuff, whatever. I got to Rice, and I was like, I can't be no chemical engineer and play baseball here. But my pitching coach said, hey man, you're draft eligible. I said, draft? You talking about really think I go play professional baseball? And I don't know, that was just kind of like the first little seed of confidence I got. And I really started to enjoy just the intricacies of the game and learning about it and talking to guys and bouncing ideas off and the struggles of it. I mean, doing PFPs, I actually enjoy doing PFPs during spring training. I do. Most people don't. And so when I got hurt, the coaches wouldn't actually let me do anything. I pretty much in practice took a stationary bike outside and rode a bike. They called it Tour de Reckoning. I rode the bike every day for an hour and 30 minutes while our team got to practice. I had to watch, and I just hated the feeling. And I was like, you know what? Lord willing, I can come back and I can actually throw a baseball again and actually throw a baseball at the level that I know I should be able to throw a baseball, and I will throw a baseball. I'm going to be back and I'm going to play baseball. So it was really motivating, kind of humbling, and definitely threw things in perspective.
Probably a bit of a cliche question, but what was it like being drafted by an MLB team?
It's an experience that I hope every baseball player that wants to go through it gets to go through. You could say, a lot of people could say that I should have gone for day one and be upset that I didn't go day one, and when the D-backs called me on day 2, almost woke me up. They called me right before the draft, and we talked, and regardless, I could have heard my name in round 20 and still felt the same. My dad and I, we knew it was going to happen because I knew I was going to get picked. We talked to them before the draft, but we didn't tell my mom, and just the sheer surprise, the joy, and the pride of hearing your family's last name called. It was, I don't even remember saying John, but just my last name. It was really cool. It was a cool feeling, because like your family gets to experience that with you. They put in so much time and money into travel ball, new baseball gloves, all the bats that turns out I wasn't gonna hit until AA and higher if I was in the N or whatever. But I mean, all the money, the time, the travel, we missed church. A good part of my life, our family didn't really get to go to church because I played baseball. I mean, and my family's religious, and we like to go to church, So, just they said our name, and I was like, even though I knew they were gonna say it, I was like, I looked at my mom, and she was like, and that felt better than anything I've experienced so far. It was really cool for everybody.
Did you think about going back to Rice for your senior year?
Oh, no shot. No shot.
So what was
Oh, I gotta elaborate on that. I say that sounds bad.
Right.
The way I said it sounds bad. I said no shot, mainly because I was ready for pro ball. I was draft eligible as a sophomore, and I got hurt and wasn't able to kind of experience that. So I was like, you know what? We're going to play ball this year. We're gonna do everything we can. I had a good year, by a lot of people's standards. I got the stats, and I got compensated well enough to say, you know what? This is worth more than my senior year. And so I took it, and I mean, my family lives a mile from Rice now, so I'm up there all the time. I might as well be doing my senior year. I'm going to take classes. I'm going to finish. That was never an issue. It's not like I needed to go back for a senior year to get my degree. Like, I'm going to get it. So I just wanted to get a jump start on my career. I mean, 23 now, 24, almost 24, going on my second full year, and I'd rather be there rather than 25.
So you get to rookie ball and you get shut down after one inning, right? One inning. That's what it was listed on MLB Pipeline. So what was kind of the decision making through that? Was that your call to get shut down? Was it the D-backs decision? Do you want to go through that a little bit? It
was the D-backs decision. When I got drafted, and then when I got to Hillsboro, which is awesome, by the way. If you ever want to watch minor league baseball, go to Hillsboro. It's dope. I had some elbow soreness, and that was just use. I mean, I threw a lot of breaking balls in college, my junior year, and I went from throwing. I threw 0 innings in 2015 to throwing 111 in 16, or then 12 if you want to include pro ball. So there was no like, all right, hey, this year we're going to increase your workload. This year we're going to increase it a little bit more, and then bam, let's go ahead and be the workhorse that we want you to be. No, I had to go out and compete for the team. There was no like, I'm not holding you back. Like, no, I wanted to go too. So it was just kind of going from 0 to 100. That's actually exactly what it was, 0 to 111. And so it just got shut down. That was just there was no real injury. It was just had some inflammation. We wanted to let calm down. No surgeries required. I mean, I didn't even take. They weren't even giving me anti-inflammatories. So it was just complete, just like, hey, you know what, rest, and then we'll just start building you up again.
And then obviously it wasn't like an injury per se, but was there anything you changed kind of mechanically with the way you pitched or your delivery at all during that time or going into this past year?
Yeah, so with the shoulder injury in 15, one of the big things was my mechanics. If you watch my mechanics, and with normal people, you'd be like, oh my gosh, you're throwing your shoulder into such a difficult position, because pitchers want this 90-90, this 90-90 rule where you want your elbow and your shoulder to be at like 90 degrees and just create these perfect angles, and so you can be powerful and compact. And the way I've thrown on my life, the muscles needed to stabilize my elbow. Just might have developed where I threw with a 90, not a 90-90, but more, I guess, wider angle. That's just how my arm works. But when I got hurt with the shoulder, they moved my mechanics and tightened me up. And when I got to pro ball, once they shut me down, our rehab coordinator is his title, Brad Arnsberg. He looked at me and said, "You look like you are grinding to make these mechanics work." And I'm like, Arnie, I'm not gonna lie. It feels awkward, man. I feel like I'm forcing something that's not me. He goes, "Well, if God asked you to pick up a rock and throw it 100 miles an hour, 300 yards, how would you throw that rock?" I picked it up, I slung it, almost sidearm. He's like, "That's how we're gonna throw." And so I just went back to throwing natural, man. That long silhouette, whatever, and the long arm action out wide, high 3/4, where extension. That's where we came back to, and that's how it was before the injury. And so been able to repeat that, which is nice.
So this past year, you were the MLB Pipeline Pitcher of the Year as well as the top pitching prospect in the Diamondback system. What kind of went into that? Like a mentality change? You've been excellent throughout your pro ball, and I believe we have the stat here. You had the second best full season ERA by a starting pitcher in 32 years in the minor leagues, only to Justin Verlander. So was there anything like any different kind of mentality you had, or you just keep grinding, just keep going?
There was a couple things. One, it was a lot of patience with like the coaching staffs, pitching coach in low A, pitching coach in high, the hitting coach in high, hitting manager in high. I mean, pretty much every coach. Anytime I had a question for them, or I could think of something that they could help me talk through, I asked them. And I mean, borderline bugging them, man. Like I was probably pretty annoying. Like during games, I grabbed the catcher who wasn't catching, and I just started a conversation like, "Hey, man, why do you think he threw that there? And like, why would I not do that?" And different stuff. Just have a 20-minute conversation about anything I could think of, just to keep our minds going. A lot of preparation with pitching coaches. I mean, I feel like, you hear Stroman say, like, if you feel like you've prepared physically, mentally, leading into the start, then that's the best kind of confidence, because everybody knows, like, pro ball, we know we have the talent or skill or the ability to actually do what we need to do. Sometimes guys should be like, you know what, I didn't read the scouting report good enough. Like, I don't know where these guys are going to miss, or I don't know where these guys are going to put the ball in play, and if they're going to hammer this. Like, I don't trust it. But there was never a moment last year where I felt like, oh man, I'm not prepared for the start. Like I just don't think I prepared well enough. And that was a lot to do with the pitching coaches. And then like the last thing, which is kind of thing, I got some young friends who were actually talking about the mental game yesterday or 2 days ago, and one thing that my experience was, I just told myself I was the freaking man. And the thing is, going into last season, I wasn't. I mean, people expected me to do well. People expected me to get ground balls and strike people out here and there. But, I mean, I really just told myself that I was better than every hitter I was going to face. They're good hitters. I acknowledge that. I respect all hitters, but in my head, when they are in the box, he's all right. Like, if I throw my pitch here, I got him. I'm gonna throw my pitch here. It was a complete and utter just positive reinforcement. There was no such thing as a word don't, can't, won't, shoulda, coulda. It was like will, am, do it. I mean, it was. I was just locked in, man, and I was locked in on everything. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go out here today and put up 6 scoreless. Or I'm going to go out there and, you know what? They're 5 in the diving, but guess what? I'm going to get my 90 pitches and I'm going to have 9, 10 Ks. I'm going to try it. Look, why not? I'm going to get it. And I think that was the biggest thing. Call me cocky. A lot of guys, especially new guys, they don't know me well, so they think I'm real cocky. And I was like, nah, man. Hey, if I was cocky, my mom would be out here whooping my tail right now. I'm just verbally trying to convince myself and convince all y'all that I am who you think I am. Like, you know, like it's just this aura. Like if LeBron James walks in here right now, he might not have his best jump shot that day, or he might not be feeling good at all. But guess what? He gonna walk in and he be like, "Oh, I'm the best basketball player on the planet." And you be like, "Dang, you're right. You're right. Okay, I believe you."
Just a quick follow-up to that. We kind of discussed the mental health aspect last week on our podcast, and I know some teams are implementing whole staffs devoted to mental health. Have the Diamondbacks done anything like that for you guys in the minor leagues at all?
What do you mean by mental health? Just like
just kind of keeping you right as a player, healthy. Just like I know they have like high performance staffs almost. Just anything like that with the Diamondbacks.
I'm sure we do. We have a sports psychologist who we have access to. I mean, and to be honest, like all the coaches and most of the players, I feel like in our organization do a great job of building people up. And whether that's just positive reinforcement or telling somebody that they're the man, you know, it's. I feel like they do a really good job in trying to get guys to get back up out of those valleys. But I'm sure at the big league level they have higher performance staffs, but I just don't think we do in the minor leagues. I haven't actually utilized that if we do.
So did you feel another follow-up question to that, did you feel more the mental grind once you got to pro ball and in the minor leagues, right? The long bus rides and such after, you know, being at a D1 university, kind of playing more close to your school, but then transitioning to the minor leagues, or there's probably not as many fans that come to the ballpark, and the playing conditions are worse and such. Like, was there a little bit more of that for you, at least?
I loved last year. I mean, I had a 139. Like I couldn't complain about anything, you know. Like every day I showed up and I was like, this sucks, but I'm shoving. Cool. So I had a smile on my face, and so I never really felt that, man, dude, this month I got an 8. Why am I showing up to a game where there's got 300 fans? They're all against me. I can't throw the ball where I want. So I never felt that. I definitely could see feeling that. But in my... I had bad starts. Let me say, I had some rough starts. But even then, I just remember thinking, I could be at Rice taking 15 hours, doing 15 hours of homework, having to study for finals, and then play baseball, high-pressure baseball on top. It's like, nah, I'll take this. I mean, there's some universities that probably like, it's kind of lax. Like, you really don't have to study or focus up in school. But at Rice, we actually had to do our work. I had to write my papers. I wrote all my papers. I tried to read all the books, but I wrote all the papers, took all my tests, you know, like, it was mentally exhausting. I remember getting pro ball, and the first couple weeks I was like, how you doing? Are you okay? I was like, this is phenomenal.
I don't have any homework.
I don't have anything to do. It's almost boring, and all you can do is just devote all your time to baseball and everything. Off season's the worst because you go back home, you talk to all your buddies who have jobs or are in school and they're doing other things, and I can't make any small talk with an electrical engineer. I don't know about anybody's job because all I know and talk about all year is baseball. And I'm around baseball players every day. So that, I guess, kind of gives you a window into the middle ground. We just talk about it all the time, and we get conditioned to talking about it. So unless you got something stressful on top of that, it's kind of lax, man. Yeah.
And then just going into the 2018 season, is there anything you've been kind of working on with your game at all? Anything specific?
How many hitters listen to this? How many hitters?
Oh, we don't know. It doesn't show us who exactly listens. Just shows us a nice little number next to the play button.
If this is gonna help him give me a scouting report, I don't even want to tell you. But I mean, really, it's a lot of the same. Repeating your delivery, how to maximize your lower half. So right now, I get into my legs, I use my legs, but I'm not maximizing it. You know, I work a lot on my legs, my lower half in the off season, and then to think that I'm not getting everything out of them, put all the sweat, man, all the sweat and hours into lifting and getting strong. And now it's like, all right, well, how can I transfer all the energy to home plate? And then, I mean, getting fastball to extension side, make sure I could run and get in on guys more. And then just kind of different combos that I used last year, but maybe not enough that I could utilize more. Change-ups to right-handed hitters or sliders back foot to left-handed hitters. Kind of generic stuff.
So, this now being your second spring training, is there a veteran guy maybe in the major league club or in the minor league club that you look up to more as a mentor to you and helping you improve your game?
Definitely. For me, this spring training, it was Frank Duncan. Frank actually just got released. I mean, that one hurt, but all spring training, I was in the beginning of the early camp. Frank was my throwing partner, and Frank throws heavy sinkers, and I throw a two-seam that sinks, and he was helping me kind of get an idea on how to consistently make it do what I want, and different tools to get there, and different tricks, I guess is a good word. But I want to get that sinker to the extension side. I want to get front hip lefties and make them jump out of the way. Next thing you know, oops, strike three or whatever, you know. So Frank kind of helped me do that, while also not making a big deal out of stuff. It was just real lax. Like, we just sit there and talk, and like, say we happen to be in the training room getting some recovery in after a day. We sit there and we just talk about stuff, and it wasn't like, you got to do this, or man, you got to do this. And he higher levels. He'd been in AAA, AA, AAA, and so he's sitting there and he's not like, hey man, you got to be able to do this. So these AAA hitters will eat you up. It was just like, man, if you can do this, you're gonna be money, and like positive reinforcement again. I mean, the last thing Frank said to me before we headed out was like, he said, man, if you ever need anything, let me know. He said, you're going to be a big leaguer. And I was like, shoot. I'm going to be a big leaguer. All right. And that was like the last thing he left me with. So when I think of Frank, I just think of like positivity and like how I want to be a Frank to somebody else, you know? So Frank's been real good to me, and I hope to see Frank again.
This is kind of changing tune a little bit, but after the passing of the Save America's Pastime Act, what's kind of the feeling by you or just minor league players in general?
Explain that to me.
So the Save the America's Pastime Act is basically, in a sense, it gives teams the option not to have a minimum wage for their minor league players. So they're not required by any federal law at this point to do that.
Pay us.
Yeah. To pay you guys minimum wage.
Oh.
Right? You still get paid, but just not official minimum wage.
Oh, yeah. Minor league baseball, it's tough. It's tough. The lifestyle's tough. And the thing is, when you get into it, we all know what we're signing up for. So at times, though, it's a grind. You know, I mean, my checks last year were like $400 every 2 weeks, and they want you to live off that. And then you got to eat healthy, and you got to eat healthy. You got to pay rent. Sometimes you got to buy gas. I mean, you got to make it stretch. And I mean, not everybody signs for a good amount of money. You know, you got senior signs. You got guys who weren't high draft picks, and everybody's going through the same thing. I know. It's tough for the Big League Players Association to kind of change things, because if you really think about it, 10 years ago, it's probably, when they were doing it, it's probably worse. So I don't know. It's kind of hard to have an opinion on, and because everybody's in a little bit different situation. Kind of goes guy to guy, but I mean, we all know what we signed up for, regardless of our situation. So. I don't know how to answer, really.
Do you know what level you're starting in this season? Your runner.
Officially, well, I'm hanging out and extended for like 3 weeks, just from the hammy. I'm gonna break a little bit late because they have to build me up to 5 innings or so. But they told me I had to get an elbow guard. They told me I'll be hitting this year, so they haven't officially said, "Hey, John, you're gonna be in AA," but. I think they're going to send me double. I think it's pretty safe to send me double.
All right. Yeah. That's all the questions we have.